Good evening. A stubborn fire continues to burn inside an East York high-rise, a fire that's been going since last Thursday.
Fire officials say it's one of the most complex fires they've ever tackled, and tonight, hundreds of residents remain displaced as the fire continues to smolder behind the walls of the building. CTV's Janice Golding is live tonight at the scene with the latest. Janice.
Hi, Michelle. Yes, fire crews continue to work around the clock trying to get at material burning between the two buildings behind us here.
Everything is broken.
Rose shows us video of her condo, a hole in her wall, an appliance hanging in her kitchen, and food rotting all over the place after power was shut off to her building.
My unit is totally damaged because we're in the wall. Totally damaged. Everything garbage.
And Rose is just one of hundreds of people displaced by a slow-burning blaze between two condo buildings.
Access to getting to this is next to impossible for our crews.
Toronto's fire chief showing the media today what's burning. Combustible particle board in the expansion joint between 11 Thorncliffe Park Drive and 21 Overley Boulevard.
We can't access it. You're dealing with two buildings, and this was put in between an expansion joint. We were up on the roof this morning, and there was visible smoke still coming out, and you're talking after 4 days of our staff continuously fighting this fire.
The chief saying they've called on Toronto Fire, Toronto Building, and third-party engineers to tackle the blaze, which senior operations commanders haven't seen the likes of in 40 years.
They have never seen something as complex as this. That is why the engineers right now are literally in a room trying to come up with other ideas.
Meanwhile, Toronto Emergency Management and the Red Cross are trying to help the displaced.
Right now, we're at 141 households that are being supported by Canadian Red Cross. This represents 293 individuals, and that also represents 117 hotel rooms.
Normita and her family are staying in one of those hotel rooms, but it's still far from ideal.
It's very stressful. We can't go back to work. We're supposed to get our uniforms.
And Fina says he's also struggling.
I've been staying with my friend.
Where?
In Bowmanville.
All the way in Bowmanville?
Yeah.
That's not convenient for work or anything else?
No, I don't have any transport right now, so I can't go to work.
Hundreds out of their homes since Thursday, with Toronto Fire saying it can't give residents a timeline as to when they'll be able to return.
It's too very hard time.
With people like Rose having no idea what they'll eventually be returning to. Now, the fire chief says they have detected high levels of carbon monoxide, but they haven't tested for other toxins. The cause of the blaze is still under investigation, although it is believed to have started at the P1 parking level. Reporting live from Janice Golding, now back to Nathan.
Thank you, Janice. And that's not the only firefight in the city. Flames broke out early this morning at a home in North York.
When first crews arrived, we realized this was a boarded up abandoned building. So we went defensive at first until our crews could get the windows and doors opened up, get the plywood off, and they realized there's some good active fire inside. It was updated to a second alarm. We had a total of 16 vehicles on scene, and working together with police and Toronto Paramedic Services. A good team effort. We were able to get this fire knocked down within an hour.
Emergency crews were called to the scene at around 4:15 this morning. Nobody was inside at the time, and the cause of the fire remains under investigation.
There was also a house fire in Aurora early this morning. Flames broke out on Beauvoir Trail near Leslie and Bloomington Road around 4 a.m. Police say everyone was able to make it out of this home safely, and neighboring residents were also evacuated as a precaution. No injuries have been reported. Also tonight, plans for 20 kilometers of new bike lanes are in the works, and the city says they won't violate the new provincial rules. Now, Toronto plans to roll out new cycling infrastructure without losing lanes of traffic.
And we have more news in a moment, but first a look at the forecast. Here's a live shot of the city. Many of the outdoor rinks have opened across the city, including there at Nathan Phillips Square, and the chilly air is going to stick around for a while. Lindsay Morrison has a look at the current conditions. Hey, Lindsay.
Yeah, Nathan, it's nice to kick off the month of December, but it's off to a bit of a chilly start today. Right now, the temperature is -3 degrees at Pearson Airport, but it feels more like -6. Worth pointing out, though, the wind's not overly strong today, not a big part of our weather story, although they are contributing to some snow squalls once again off Georgian Bay, well north of here. Here's what that looks like on the satellite and radar. We, too, are looking at another round of snow, and that moves in overnight tonight. Expect a couple of fresh centimeters by the time we wake up tomorrow morning, and it's going to be cold. -5 degrees will feel more like -9. We'll take a full look at your weather forecast coming up. For now, Michelle, over to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. One person was taken to hospital after a car collided with a heavy-duty forklift in Scarborough early this morning. Police were called to a construction site near McCowan and Nugget Avenue, north of Shepherd, shortly before 1:30 a.m. The driver had to be extricated from their vehicle by firefighters. They were taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of this crash is still under investigation. Both Ontario's transportation minister and the CEO of Metrolink say the Eglinton Crosstown LRT is close to opening.
But neither has been able to provide an exact date. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has more on the long-delayed transit project.
It's the ongoing tease for people living along Eglinton Avenue. Crosstown trains they can't board.
I think it's never going to open. It's a big joke.
A frustration that extends to the Ontario legislature.
15 years we've been waiting for this. What a disaster. What a waste of time and money.
After years of expensive, time-consuming delays on the 16-kilometer light rail line and few clear answers about why, the transportation minister offers this.
We are so close on the crosstown.
So close means when? Today?
Well, no, but the head of Metrolink says Monday should be the last day of revenue service demonstration. The 30-day test run mimics the rigors of a regular schedule, letting passengers on and off.
To make sure that a system is safe and reliable before we put passengers on it. And we have tested this system now across those 30 days in all kinds of weather.
Ontario's Liberals not sure about that last part.
Clearly, Toronto has yet to experience full winter conditions, and revenue testing hasn't occurred in the wintertime.
Bless says that's critical to prevent a repeat of what happened with Ottawa's LRT when winter hit a few months after opening.
40% of trains that should be available out of commission for maintenance.
The Ottawa LRT seized up in January and February.
Doors didn't work properly. The heating systems didn't work properly. It caused enormous delays for customers.
Having an issue with the door.
The problem so deep, progressive conservatives called a public inquiry. Blow worries the government is ignoring the lessons learned in that process. In terms of what's next for the crosstown, there will be some tweaks based on whatever the testing revealed, and work with the TTC to find out what more needs to be done to slowly ramp up service. Whether there's enough time to tackle all that before the end of the year, no one is saying.
Why can't you deliver transit on budget and on time and actually give us an honest answer of when it's going to start?
For long-suffering commuters, however thin, there is hope.
Maybe a Christmas miracle.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
The city is moving forward with a proposal that could see the installation of 20 kilometers of new bike lanes.
And it would do it while still complying with provincial legislation that limits cycling infrastructure. CTV's John Musselman explains.
The City of Toronto may have found a workable solution that will keep motorists and cyclists happy when it comes to bike lanes. In a report set to go before Council's Infrastructure Committee this week, city staff are proposing a plan to install 20 kilometers of new bike lanes by narrowing some roads. That would keep it in compliance with provincial legislation prohibiting municipalities from removing lanes of traffic for bike lanes.
The bike lanes will be installed, the car lanes will remain, and the design of the road is better. So we're moving ahead. I think the legislation that is, I believe, Bill 60 from the provincial government said that if a car lanes remain, it's just go ahead.
Traffic experts say it would make roads safer for all road users.
In several places, the roads are currently wider than the minimum guideline that the city requires. So this is extra space that they are taking advantage of to be able to keep the lanes that are for driving and add cycling infrastructure.
This proposal appears to be a workable solution, according to the provincial Minister of Transportation.
If there is a way in which you can have both a vehicle lane and a bike lane on the same street, then that is okay.
The city staff proposal recommends speed reductions on some roads that would need to be narrowed, and in some cases, parking spaces would need to be removed. One example would be narrowing the lanes on Kingston Road. Experts say motorists likely wouldn't even notice a difference.
Because you would just drive to the conditions. Like, people around here will be driving to what feels like the right speed for that road. And you might notice if you were paying attention, but I don't think it will be noticeable to drivers.
The report is set to go before the Infrastructure and Environment Committee on Thursday. John Musselman, CTV News.
The Ford government has taken over the Near North District School Board, claiming dysfunction and mismanagement have eroded public confidence. The Education Ministry says a recent review of the board found significant failures in governance and leadership, specifically regarding setbacks in opening a new school in Parry Sound. It says the board was given 15 directives to avoid being placed under supervision, but it failed to comply with 10 of them. Legislation passed last month gave Education Minister Paul Calandra more powers to take control of Ontario's school boards.
This was a board, or is a board, where the Director of Education was using the corporate credit card. He was housed in a school that was closed 10 years ago, where kids are being taught in a half-demolished, partially demolished school. Where trustees were actively working against their own board, where they disregarded conflict of interest rules, where they were accused of and literally found guilty by our reviewer of going into the community and sowing dissension amongst the community on decisions the board has made.
The Ontario Public School Boards Association released a statement that reads in part, local trustees give communities a real voice in their schools, and when that voice is weakened, everyone loses. Supervision should always be a last resort. When it happens, there should be a clear, publicly communicated plan outlining expectations for everyone involved, including a transparent path back to full local governance.
Still at Queen's Park, opposition leaders grilled the government about a claim that one of the beneficiaries of a multi-million-dollar government grant has a dental practice that treats the Ford family.
CTV's John Woodward has more.
So my question to the Premier is, did he give $2 million of government funding to his personal and family dentist?
Speaker, Premier's already said that's incorrect, Speaker.
A raucous question period at the Ontario Legislature Monday morning focused on a $2.5 billion jobs training fund. One recipient of $2 million, a company belonging to the principal dentist of JM Dental, which said on its website, "We want you to feel as comfortable and relaxed as the Ford family has during their visits with us." The Premier denied that he goes there. Photos show them together. But all of it sparked jokes from opposition benches.
Trying to get an answer out of this government on anything to do with skills development fund is like, it's worse than a root canal. And I've had quite a few.
I will say, I think the Premier is really putting his money where his mouth is.
This is just the latest recipient of the Skills Development Fund to have their connections to the Doug Ford government examined in the wake of a scathing Auditor General report that found that political staff overruled bureaucrats about where the money was going more than half the time. That money, for example, going to major PC party donors. One recipient got money despite a forensic audit that is now being investigated by the OPP. Almost $10 million went to a nonprofit operating out of a venue licensed as an adult entertainment club.
$10 million is a lot of money.
Opposition MPPs questioning bureaucrats in a committee room Monday afternoon, learning even with this scandal, the approvals for the next round of grants will still be done by the minister.
Just to be clear, it will still be the minister who decides who gets what funding. Is that correct?
So the way that the SDF is designed is that the staff provide their information and the minister decides.
So that's not changing.
As for that dentist, days after we visited their office in person, an executive said they had no comment, but that claim about the Ford family has now been removed from their website. John Woodward, CTV News.
The union representing workers at the city's Community and Seniors Housing Agency says a tentative deal has been reached with its employer. News of the deal comes after workers voted overwhelmingly in favor of a strike mandate early last month. CUPE Local 79 represents more than 800 workers with TCHC and TSHC. The union says full details of the deal will be shared publicly once it's ratified by its members.
A report card has been released on the state of new housing in Ontario, and Toronto has received a failing grade. The report, done by Rescon and the University of Ottawa's Missing Middle initiative, assessed the state of housing sales and construction over the first 9 months of the year. It looked at 34 municipalities in the GTA and Greater Golden Horseshoe region. 17 received an F, with another 9 receiving a D grade. The remaining 8 municipalities were graded C or higher. The authors of the report also say the decline in new home construction has a direct impact on the city's labor market.
Feed Ontario released its 2025 hunger report, warning the province is dealing with a strained healthcare system, increased homelessness, and community instability.
CTV's Mike Walker takes a closer look at the numbers.
See that there's a lot of shelf space that's full. But
the warehouse is full at the North York Harvest Food Bank, but within a day, nearly all this food will be distributed.
So we're seeing here in Toronto almost 3 times as many visits to food banks as we saw 5 years ago before the pandemic.
The executive director says the 40 agencies they serve are experiencing unprecedented demand.
We were never designed to deal with the level of crisis that we are seeing now.
Food banks across Ontario are seeing a staggering increase for the 9th year in a row. According to the latest Feed Ontario Hunger Report, more than 1 million Ontarians relied on food banks between April 2024 and March 2025. With 8.7 million visits, that is a 13% increase year over year.
We're very concerned. What we're seeing is really a deepening of poverty with the affordability crisis growing.
While the number of new clients was down, the report found many are turning to food banks for longer periods. 1 in 3 clients are children under 18 and people with disabilities, and 1 in 4 are employed, like Volodymyr Kravchuk, who fled the war in Ukraine with his family 2 years ago.
Almost every week or every 2 weeks I try to visit it.
He's an outreach worker for a nonprofit, but says his monthly income is consumed by housing costs.
The whole salary is just coming to pay the rent for the flat. But I still have 2 kids, I still have a wife, and what my wife is earning is not enough to buy enough food for kids.
Given the increasing demand, 2 in 3 food banks are concerned they won't be able to keep their doors open over the next 6 months. Feed Ontario warning the spike in visits will have broader impacts on access to housing and healthcare services.
But if we can't provide the level of support that they need, then we're going to see some of the province's most pressing issues get worse.
They are calling on governments to implement policies to reduce poverty.
We'll work through that strain and we'll use that as inspiration to advocate even louder so that we build affordable housing, so that we make sure that people on disability are taken care of, and that we start to set up a reduction in precarious employment.
At this rate, food banks fear the trend will only get worse. Mike Walker, CTV News.
It's been a difficult day for 1/3 of Algoma Steel's workforce in Northern Ontario. They've been laid off as the company reels from Donald Trump's 50% tariffs.
Algoma is a huge exporter of steel to the Americans and has been feeling the pain. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
This is a massive blow to the steel industry and specifically to 1,000 Algoma workers and their families. 1,000 layoff notices for a company that employs about 2,700 people in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. The company blamed U.S. tariffs for the layoffs, saying in a statement, "These tariffs have fundamentally altered the competitive landscape and sharply limited our ability to access the U.S. market." As a result of these pressures, Algoma has been forced to conclude its long history as an integrated steel manufacturer and close its blast furnace and coke-making operations in early 2026. Algoma will transition to electric arc furnace steelmaking at that time, a year earlier than previously anticipated or planned. Both the federal and provincial government took steps to try and reinforce the company. In September, Ottawa announced a $400 million loan, Ontario $100 million.
Our thoughts are with them. The Prime Minister looked them in the eye and promised he would protect their jobs, that he would negotiate a win, and I quote, have a deal by July 21st, but it was a bait and switch that is costing people their livelihoods.
My team and I have been in contact with Algoma's leadership team. We absolutely have every confidence in the Algoma workers as they're going through this hardship, and we will make sure that we support them as they're developing new products and also accessing new markets.
No specifics from the feds about how they will support them, while Ontario says it's launching a local centre for impacted workers, including retraining. The layoffs take effect in March of next year. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Prime Minister shuffled his cabinet today in the wake of the resignation of one of his ministers last week. Montreal MP Mark Miller was sworn in as the Minister of Canadian Identity, Culture and Official Languages. Miller served as Immigration Minister under former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He replaces Quebec MP Stephen Guilbeault, who resigned from cabinet last week. Public Works and Procurement Minister Joel Lightbound had the role of Quebec Lieutenant added to his portfolio today, while Julie DeBruzen retains her post as Environment and Climate Change Minister, but also inherits the Nature File.
A Canadian citizen is one of 4 international activists recovering from injuries after allegedly being assaulted by Israeli settlers in the West Bank. CTV's Colton Prail has the latest details amid a rise of settler violence.
A Canadian woman and 3 Italians were attacked in the early morning hours Sunday in the village of Ain el-Duke near Jericho in the West Bank. The woman from British Columbia, who asked not to be identified, says masked settlers armed with rifles and clubs beat her and her companions in an attempt to intimidate them.
They proceeded for at least 15 minutes to attack and beat us brutally. I myself was kicked repeatedly in the head, in the ribs, in the hip, and in the thigh. They poured gasoline on us and threatened to burn the house down.
In the past month,
the woman is part of a Palestinian group which places international activists in the West Bank to try to deter settler violence. She says attacks in the Duke region have become a daily occurrence over the past 2 months. In a statement, Global Affairs Canada says it's aware of a Canadian citizen injured in the West Bank, but can't provide further information. Canada condemned violence committed by what it calls extremist settlers and opposes any actions or talk about the annexation of the Palestinian territories, calling the settlements illegal. Meanwhile, the United Nations says there were over 260 settler attacks across the West Bank in October, the most in any month since 2006. Meanwhile, the Canadian woman says she and her colleagues will return to the community of Duke, where they were attacked, once they recover from their injuries.
What happened to us is terrible, but it's nothing in comparison to the Palestinian experience.
Last week, Germany, France, the UK, and Italy said the increased attacks risk undermining the success of a Gaza peace plan. They're urging the Israeli government to reverse its settlement policy. Colton Prail, CTV News, Ottawa.
In Ukraine, 4 people were killed in a Russian attack on the eastern central city of Dnipro. 40 others were injured, some seriously, in the strike that hit service stations, other businesses, and an office building. The industrial city and the surrounding region have faced repeated Russian missile and drone attacks that have killed civilians and damaged housing, industry, and infrastructure. And in Paris, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with his French counterpart. The two joined a call with about a dozen other European leaders who showed support after weekend talks between Ukraine and the U.S. to revise an American peace proposal. Today, Zelensky said his country's priorities in peace talks were to maintain sovereignty and ensure strong security guarantees, and that territorial disputes remained the most complicated. Emmanuel Macron insisted that only Ukraine could decide on its territories in peace negotiations.
Pope Leo XIV is continuing his visit to Lebanon, urging priests and nuns to offer hope and love in the face of injustice and oppression. The pontiff visited the Our Lady of Lebanon sanctuary north of Beirut today. He told the gathering it is especially important to offer hope to young people and make space and opportunities for them in the church. The Pope heard from Lebanese priests and nuns about the difficulties and joys of being Christian in a region torn by conflict. He arrived in Beirut yesterday after a visit to Turkey that began on November 27th.
In Washington, U.S. First Lady Melania Trump revealed this year's White House holiday decorations. The theme is Home is Where the Heart Is. The East Room is decorated in patriotic red, white, and blue and national symbols. They include golden eagle tree toppers to highlight next year's 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The official White House Christmas tree is also decorated with gold stars honoring families that have endured the ultimate sacrifice due to military service.
And a special Christmas tree is getting a lot of attention in Brazil. Look at this floating tree installed at a beach yesterday. It marks the opening of the first edition of Christmas in Rio. The structure is 80 meters high and is illuminated with more than 2 million LEDs. More than 650,000 people are due to visit the tree throughout the holiday season.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, are you planning to take a trip out of the country anytime soon? If so, when is the last time you checked your passport? A woman says she was detained and refused entry to Costa Rica after her dog chewed her passport. I love that story. That's just ahead.
Well, so long November. I think so many of us are going to remember this past month for the early snow we got on the 9th, nearly 10 centimeters, in fact. Now it's December. We typically do see a little more snow in this month, and we're going to get a couple of centimeters tonight. So we'll take you through the weather forecast coming up. It is Monday, though, so Toy Mountain is visiting another school. This week, CTV's Andrea Case is visiting St. Dominic Savio School in Scarborough.
This 2025 Ford Bronco Big Bend drives fabulously from Whitby to Scarborough.
We're here at St. Dominic Savio Catholic School.
Our second stop on the Toy Mountain School campaign.
We are at St. Dominic Savio School. St. Dominic Savio was a child who became a saint. Now, I'm getting all emotional just thinking about this, so I'm going to bring in our principal here to tell us a little bit. This is your first time that your school is involved in helping build a Toy Mountain. Why is the school involved?
Yes, that is correct, and we are very excited for this opportunity, and we are just overjoyed, and the kids have been working so hard, as well as the classroom teacher, Mrs. Caruso. And for us, it just means that it's an opportunity for us to give back. We know that during this time of the year, there are so many families that feel that extra pressure to want to buy a little bit extra for their families, and perhaps they can't, or they feel that extra stress. So for us as a community, the fact that we can help just lessen that stress a little bit means so much to us, the community, that we can do that.
Okay, so it's your first time, but it's also your first time doing this with the Salvation Army. So what is it like to find out that there's still schools that are getting on board for the first time?
Well, it's absolutely amazing. These children, I'm looking at the balloons around the school, the light balloons around the school, and you guys genuinely know how to give and care and be kind to others. We thank you for that. What you're doing is making a real difference in the lives of families and children, so thank you.
Let's give a round of applause for all you kids.
Your passport is, of course, an important document, and it must be kept in excellent condition when you're traveling.
A woman found that out the hard way after she was refused entry to Costa Rica due to her passport being damaged. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. A couple went to Costa Rica 3 weeks ago, but the woman was denied entry because the corner of her passport was damaged. She was detained for 24 hours and forced to fly back home.
I think we caught somebody at the table that had a bad day and wanted to prove something.
Andy Field and Jason Tate of Georgetown went to Costa Rica in mid-November to celebrate an anniversary. Field says her puppy chewed the corner of her passport, but that she's used it to travel to other countries without issue.
It's barely like this much off the corner of it. I tried to take it to Service Canada, and they actually told me it wasn't damaged enough to be replaced. So I've had it for 5 years. We've traveled to 7 different countries with it.
But when she landed at the Liberia airport in Costa Rica, a staff member said her passport was too damaged to enter the country. She was held in detention for 24 hours and told she would have to fly home.
He was allowed in the country. I was not. So he was actually escorted to the exit and told to figure it out. And I was taken into a detention cell.
Tate says they tried to stay positive, but the situation escalated quickly.
They brick-walled us every single time we tried to talk to them or communicate with them.
He ended up staying in a nearby hotel. The couple bought return tickets to Toronto, but then were not allowed to board the plane. They had to buy 2 more tickets the next day.
They processed me like a criminal. Like, they took all of my information. They asked for my saliva.
Rips, tears, water damage, those are all typical things that technically you're not supposed to have. I mean, you might get lucky and someone might not question you, but the problem is you might get unlucky and someone will.
Travel expert Lauren Christie says it's better to be safe than sorry and always replace a damaged passport.
And don't check it the day of. Check it a couple of weeks ahead of time so you have a chance to rectify the situation if you need to.
The couple planned to spend about $2,000 but had to pay about $8,000 for the last-minute flights and other expenses. Field plans to get a new passport but won't be heading back to Costa Rica.
I feel like I've been stripped of like all of my security and confidence to travel, and now I have zero confidence in traveling anywhere.
And another reason people are denied entry is when their passport expires. Always check the date and realize some countries require 3 months before it expires. Others are 6 months. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, we got snow to end the month of November, and now we're embarking on December, and another dose tonight.
Right, and also some chilly air that's going to stick around for a while, it seems.
Yeah, so because it's colder tonight, we're not going to have what we had yesterday, which was a little bit of snow, followed by rain, a slushy mess, and then some freezing. This time around, we're likely to pick up a few fresh centimeters of snow, and it will remain cold into tomorrow. So you might need to get the snow brush out when it comes to your morning commute, maybe some light shoveling in some areas too. But as you'll see when I show you this system, it's not a complete widespread snowy event for everyone. I do want to show you where there is snow right now, and that's at Blue Mountain. Some of this is courtesy of Mother Nature. Some of it is man-made. I mean, conditions have been ripe for making snow, and it looks like some ski hills in Ontario ski country are aiming for an early opening, perhaps as early as this weekend. That's great to hear. I'm sure skiers and snowboarders are pretty pumped about that as well. Here comes the next round of snow. Not so much for this part of Ontario. Instead, it's going to be around the south, just knocking on the doorstep in southwestern Ontario. This area of low pressure, you're going to notice that the bulk of it remains stateside. It's just the northern fringe that's going to impact us here in southern Ontario. The heavy snow and all that rain, again, is mainly going to stay south of the border, but can't rule out the possibility of maybe 2 to even 5 centimeters of fresh snow here in the GTA. So again, this is going to happen overnight tonight. There's about midnight. It's just starting to push in. Around 6 a.m., again, communities right along the shore of Lake Ontario, Niagara region, and Lake Erie. If you're joining us from Barrie, for example, you're not likely to get snow from this particular round. Just wait, though, a day or two. And then midday, this is all moving out. We should enjoy a little bit of sun before the cloud cover builds back in. Wednesday looks to bring us another burst of flurries. It is going to be windier that day. And then behind that front, some lake effect snow is going to kick in once again, heading into the day on Thursday. All right, let's talk temperatures. Our seasonal norm on the first day of December is about 4 degrees. So keep this in mind as we take you through the next couple of days. Cold tonight, -5 degrees will feel more like -9. And then tomorrow, while this is a bit of a slight improvement from today, warmth-wise, 1 degree, again, is still below average. And we look to be that way really through the next 7 days here. So quick look at what you can expect as we go forward. So -1, so we're back below freezing for both Thursday and for Friday. A little more in the way of sun mixing in. Some pretty chilly overnight lows as we progress through the middle of this work and school week. Let's talk about the weekend. Saturday brings the possibility of a few flurries. At this point, it looks like it's going to be a mostly cloudy weekend. And then we get another blast of colder air. Look at these overnight lows, perhaps -11 degrees, -10 into Monday. And those are core temperatures. It's likely to feel even colder than that once you take the winds into consideration. That's the forecast for now. This year marks the 30th annual Toy Mountain campaign. Tomorrow night, we will be in Mississauga. But tonight, Andrea Case is showing us how the staff and students at St. Dominic Savio School in Scarborough are helping build a mountain of toys.
These are your kids. How proud are you of your children? Because often you have assignments for your students and they may or may not do it or may not be so excited. Was this a tough sell for your students?
Absolutely not. Our students are extremely
happy to be part of this campaign. They are thrilled over the moon to be supportive of families and of students of their own age, perhaps, that may need a little toy to open under the tree for Christmas morning. They are thrilled over the moon to be supportive of families and of students of their own age, perhaps.
We can actually see kindness gets us to the top. And these are 3 children here at the school who've definitely been part of building that toy mountain. Of course, now we can't speak to all the kids, so we've chosen 3. I didn't, the school did. And so let's talk to Ephraim first. Ephraim, why did you want to be a part of Toy Mountain?
I wanted to be the part of Toy Mountain because I get to help others, and I am so proud and happy of helping others of my age whose parents can't afford some toys for Christmas.
I feel very joyful because I know that more children in the world are happy and are able to see something under their Christmas tree.
Okay, and so Gloria, how proud are you of all of your classmates? Because you all came together. It wasn't just one person did this. It's all of you combined did this with the help of your teacher. What do you think of that?
I think that I'm really happy that we all got to do something on our own to help do this mountain drive.
The head coach of the Ottawa Charge announced she's battling breast cancer as a new women's health initiative begins for the PWHL.
But as our health reporter Pauline Chan tells us, Carla McLeod says she is determined to stay behind the bench.
An announcement from the Ottawa Charge said 2-time Olympic gold medalist and Ottawa head coach Carla McLeod has been diagnosed with breast cancer. McLeod says, "Hearing those words was incredibly difficult, but I want everyone to know that I'm going to be okay." She adds, "I'm incredibly fortunate to have an exceptional medical team guiding me, and together we have built a treatment plan that gives me tremendous confidence in the road ahead." The diagnosis comes as the PWHL is embarking on a new partnership with BD Canada, an international medical technology company, to advance women's health.
So Breast Cancer Canada obviously is thrilled to hear that BD Canada is partnering with PWHL to advance women's health. Certainly breast cancer is a topic we're still looking at 1 in 8 and over 50 different types of breast cancer.
Kimberly Carson says early detection is key, and the latest guidelines mean women age 40 are now covered for breast screening in all provinces except Quebec and Alberta.
You can self-refer, which means you don't need a doctor to tell you that you can go. You can actually go and present at a clinic yourself and ask for a mammogram.
The 43-year-old McLeod says she plans to work as much as possible in the coming weeks and months, something Carson says is not uncommon.
Because there's so many different types of breast cancer, it really depends on how quickly it's been caught, what stage they're at. But certainly, yeah, I mean, if it was caught quickly at an early stage, she may not even need chemotherapy. She may be just going through some surgery and some radiation, and she probably can actually continue to work.
McLeod is even counting on being able to travel to Czechia to coach there in the new year. The new BD partnership with PWHL is aimed at promoting equitable access to testing and treatment for women, empowering women through sports, and strengthening communities by supporting women, patients, and caregivers. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Real estate agents in the GTA stepped up at a coaching session with much-needed holiday donations for young families.
The sessions were free with a donation. CTV's Beth McDonnell has the story.
There's always someone a bit smarter.
Strategies for GTA real estate agents to improve was up for discussion at the Pearson Convention Center in Brampton. Normally, a motivational coaching session like this can cost hundreds of dollars, but it was free with a cash or toy donation.
This is the first time we're doing one in Toronto.
Coach Larry Kozak says the toy drive has been taking place for many years in other places, and now it's the GTA's turn. This one is being done in conjunction with 2 cities in the U.S. and 1 in Italy.
So we give the agents this time of year a little tip, a little encouragement. Keep going, keep going. I know it's December, things slow down, but you can do going. And at the same time, they give a little back by bringing a gift.
Around 150 agents participated in the coaching session and made donations. Gary Betts brought a race car and a doll.
I think it's a fantastic idea. I know they've been doing it in the U.S. for a number of years. I think most families are going paycheck to paycheck, trying to just hang in there. So any little bit that we can do to give back, needs to be done.
Manjot Kaur gave a play kitchen set.
I feel so good that God has given us enough that we are able to give to people who really need it. And it is something that's going to bring smiles on their face.
From the convention center, all the money and toys will go to the Salvation Army for families in need.
It's just one little token of the real estate agents of the Greater Toronto Area, one thing they could do to get families that are not so fortunate or maybe struggling at this time of the year, to give a gift to a child.
Kozak says this is only the start of more holiday giving to come, because from now on, it's an annual event. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
On the markets, the dollar started the month down, falling to 71.44 U.S. Crude oil was up 77 cents to close at $59.32 U.S. a barrel. And amid losses in bank stocks, the TSX shed 281 points to end the day at 31,101.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
FIFA is going to reveal the match schedule for next summer's World Cup in a live global broadcast on Saturday. Toronto's hosting 6 games. Next weekend's show from Washington will confirm venues and kickoff times for all 104 tournament matches. FIFA says the process is meant to create optimal conditions for players and fans, and where possible, allow viewing across multiple time zones. On Friday, a draw will determine the World Cup's 12 groups of 4.
This is where Canada's Olympic and Paralympic hockey teams will play some of their games during the Olympics in February. And we learned today there will be test events at the venue in Milan, Italy next month. The ice will be tested, as well as ensuring facilities for spectators are functioning properly. Olympic organizers are racing to complete the rink in time for the games. And Brandi Carlile will sing America the Beautiful as the NFL has announced the performers for the Super Bowl pregame show. 4-time Grammy-nominated singer Charlie Puth will also take the stage to deliver the national anthem in Santa Clara, California. And Grammy-winning R&B star and actor Coco Jones will perform Lift Every Voice and Sing during the February 8th show.
Just ahead, capturing big adventures in the great outdoors. A new exhibit reveals what happens when young women are given exciting new opportunities to explore.
But first, let's check in one last time with our Andrea Case, who visited St. Dominic Savio School as part of our 30th annual Toy Mountain.
So we were just talking about the fact that this is the first time for the school to be taking part. You heard what the kids have to say. How's your heart feeling right now?
Actually, it was very emotional. Listening to the children, and you all have to know, children, that it's more than just a gift you're giving. You're giving hope to a family that some of them haven't had hope for a very long time. So thank you. Thank you so much.
You're seeing the children. We're going from school to school. How are you feeling?
It's emotional. The commitments of the children, the commitments of the teachers, the principal, the school. It's heartwarming to see the commitment to each and every one of their communities.
Merry Christmas from St. Dominic Savio Catholic School.
A new photography exhibition is marking 4 years of an outdoor program.
All aimed at helping young people discover the outdoors and themselves. CTV's Jessica Smith has the story.
Bringing the great outdoors inside in a new photography exhibit. This show and this gallery is documenting the women's cohort that is made up of young women and girls who got a chance to step outside with us year after year to Quebec, to Alberta, and to Vancouver.
The photos showcase 4 years of mentorship-driven outdoor programming with the Kickback Foundation, who works to create opportunities for youth in underserved communities.
Is a nonprofit out of the East End bringing opportunities to a wide range of youth at the intersections of art, education, and sport.
The 24 photos features the female participants captured by visual artist Isabel Okor and photographer Yasmin Omar.
Having that safe space, I think especially when I put the camera down, those late conversations where they were talking about their lives and being vulnerable and opening up were so important in the process.
It was so inspiring, honestly, especially just seeing the courage and the willingness the girls had to try everything. They were very excited about the outdoors.
Each participant leaving the experience with skills to last a lifetime.
Things aren't as scary anymore for some reason. Like after being on a plane, going to Vancouver, and just everything that happened on the trip and all the experiences, like when a new opportunity arises now, I'm not scared to take it.
The Kickback program will begin its next round of adventures in the spring of 2026.
The one-on-one Rory Bloom exhibit is free to attend here at It's OK Studio and will be in place through to December 3rd. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
And the outdoor elements are looking just beautiful at Nathan Phillips Square. The tree is lit, the sign's looking fabulous, and there'll be some snow to go along with it.
Yeah, we can still embrace the outdoors. We just have to dress for it. We need to have our gear for perhaps some light snow into tomorrow morning. Here's a look at the forecast radar. This is going to give you a little bit of an idea of what's coming. And notice how A, this is fast moving. B, it's really just the fringe of it that skirts us here in the GTA. In any case, 2 to 5 centimeters possible by the time we are all heading out the door tomorrow. Afternoon high about 1 degree. That's a bit of an improvement. Next 3 days are looking cool. These temperatures are below seasonal for the first couple of days of December, and it gets even colder heading into the weekend. Michelle and Nathan.
Thanks, Lindsay. That's it for us, but be sure to join Omar Sachedina at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with your next local newscast at 11:30.
Anytime our coverage continues anytime on CB24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.